All right, let's talk about a place where it is very difficult to be a Republican. The state of California, land of anti-vaxxer mania, Hollywood liberal phonies, and the only real place on the mainland to get decent surf conditions. No seats in the U.S. Senate, 0 for 8 in statewide executive positions, and only 14 bodies in the U.S. House. Talk about being in the minority. Okay, so now wait for it. Could that all be about to change in California? Our guest is author of the book Taxifornia, and he has commissioned a poll of likely Republican voters in California for the primary. And yes, he found breathing bodies in red. Now let's see if it will change anything come 2016. From Taxifornia now to doing the poll, Jim Lacy is in the house. Hi, Jim.
Hi, how are you? Thank you very much for having me on. You know, you're absolutely right about California being a blue state. It's a decidedly blue state. As a matter of fact, in this recent election, Jerry Brown was elected by over 1 million votes, and he was actually outspent by his opponent, Neil Kashkari, and that bucked the national trend. But this is what's important about California and Republicans. California is the largest state in the nation, and at the Republican National Convention that's going to be held in Cleveland next summer, the California delegation is going to be a huge part of the decision-making process for who the next Republican nominee will be. So we commissioned a poll this weekend to get an early blush of what voter sentiment was among likely voters in that Republican primary election in California, which will be held June 7th, 2016. And to our surprise, Scott Walker is just way ahead. In a field of 16 candidates, he finished with 20% of the vote, almost 2 times as much as Jeb Bush got. Jeb Bush had 10.5% of the vote, and Ben Carson, surprisingly, had 10.7% of the vote. Our statistical margin of error is plus or minus 4%. That lead by Walker at this early stage is well above the statistical margin of error. Looks like Californians like the governor of Wisconsin.
Why do you think they like him? Because certainly we're now going to start to get into all the minutiae now as we head towards the election itself. But if people say, well, he's a governor, well, he fought the unions, what is it you think that actually attracts them?
Well, let me quickly say I'm not affiliated with any presidential campaign, so this is a real honest-to-goodness poll, and it has a confidence level of 95% with that 4% margin of error. I think that highly knowledgeable voters, what we call high information voters, the type of voters that listen to your program, the type of voters that listen to CNN and Fox News in California get it about Scott Walker. Wisconsin has a lot of the same problems that California has. High unemployment, high taxes, public employee union control of the political process, a lot of money being spent. And the difference is that in Wisconsin, Republicans were able to make a resurgence and put in good political philosophy into practice so that unemployment has gone down, employment has come back, the economy is expanding. California has those same problems. The difference is that California is so controlled by liberal Democrats, and there's so much money swamping the political system from the public employee unions that the Republican point of view just doesn't have a chance to succeed. And as a result, California has the highest poverty rate in the nation. You said earlier that every single state office is controlled by a Democrat. It has been for some time. California's poverty rate is 24%. That's the highest in the nation. This is what liberal policies get us. But I believe that high information voters in the Republican Party are intuitively getting this from Walker, and I think that's where he gets his base of support.
Want to point out to everybody, too, that Senators Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, right near the 8% mark, and Carly Fiorina did not do very well, even though California voters do know him. Jim, unfortunately, we're all out of time, but we're going to have to watch this now because I'll tell you what, maybe you give the Republicans a little bit of a shake now and they say, maybe we can actually have some success in California one day. Want to remind everybody that Jim's book is a great look at taxes and the big state, the Golden State, Taxifornia, Liberals' Laboratory to Bankrupt America. Jim, pleasure to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right. Marco versus Jeb. And things are only going to get juicier in the battle for the White House thanks to this one little state that sometimes we make a lot of fun of. And sometimes it deserves it. But they got 2 guys that are about ready to duke it out any day. Stay with us. MidPoint continues.